tell if I've stopped it or not. Okay, welcome to Chair Yoga, and I'm JJ Gormley. And today I have a chair, and I forgot to get my blanket on my chair. Let me hop over here and get the blanket. So I like to use the blanket on the chair because I'm a taller body, and since chairs aren't one size fits all, we can use these blankets to adjust them. So if you're taller and you wish you had a taller chair, you put your blanket on top like I'm going to do. Or if you rather the chair be shorter, you put the blanket on the floor and put your feet on the blanket there. And then I've got blocks, one on either side, which we don't really need. I'll show you if you don't have blocks. I'll start the movement without the blocks, and you can just do that. And then something to slide your feet on the floor. So this is carpet, and paper plates work well. These are furniture sliders that you put under the legs of your furniture and slide them on carpet. That works really well. These are super big ones that pretty much fit my whole foot. But paper plates work well. If you have a hard surface like hardwood or linoleum or something, and you have that blanket, you can use your blanket to slide, or a towel or something like that. All right, so let's get started. And also try not to sit back into the chair back as much as possible. So if the back gets fatigued and you need to lean back, of course you can, but the more you can teach your muscles, your core muscles, to sit upright and away from the chair back, the better. And they'll get stronger and stronger, and then you'll be able to sit upright more and more and more time. So I've been practicing sitting without the chair back for a while, so I can stay forward of the chair back for the whole class. But if your muscles aren't used to holding you upright without leaning back into something, then they're going to start to they get really hot or burning, and don't let that happen. So lean back, and if possible, catch it before that. All right, we're going to start with let's put one hand on the heart and one hand on the belly. The heart center, the fourth chakra, and one hand on the belly, the third chakra. And we're going to feel the breath moving those hands. And so you might just notice which hand moves first, which hand moves the most, these kinds of things. And so you make a note of what your natural breath pattern is, and then we'll direct the breath to move one hand or the other, or the order they move and all that. So let's start with what we call belly breathing. That is, your hand on your belly moves, not the hand on the chest. So keep the chest hand pretty quiet, your heart center quiet, and just the belly hand moving. When you inhale, the belly expands out, the hand will move out. When you exhale, the belly comes back in, that hand comes back in. And then let's switch it and do just the opposite. Keep the belly hand quiet, not moving, and the hand on the heart moving. Little to no movement in the belly. As much movement as comfortable for you under the heart hand. And then these next two breaths will be combination, moving both hands, but the order that they move will change. So let's do the belly hand moves first, and then the heart hand. Kind of feels like you're filling the body with breath from the bottom to the top. And then just exhale. The exhale just happens however it wants to. Just let it be a relaxed movement. And of these breath patterns, you're noting to yourself which ones are really easy, which ones are more difficult. The ones that are really easy are closer to your natural breath pattern, and the ones that are more difficult then, of course, are the furthest from your natural breath pattern. Last one is the chest hand moves first and then the belly hand. And this is kind of the way the breath, the physiology of the breath moves. It comes in through the nose, down the trachea, and fills the lungs from the top down. So imagine that breath coming in down the throat and filling the top and then the bottom, expanding the top ribs first, down to the belly. Exhales, just relaxed. So you can kind of place those 4 breath patterns from easiest to most difficult on like a spectrum, and play with the breaths that are not your easiest pose, your easiest breath, and maybe the middle 2. Play with the middle 2. The breath that's the most difficult may not even be accessible to you. If it is accessible, go ahead and practice it. But if it's too difficult and just making it you feel frustrated, then let it go and just play with those middle 2 breaths. And I usually say if you're having a really stressful day, definitely don't play with the one that's the most difficult. Play with those ones in the middle, or even just stick with your easy breath pattern for that day. And then when you're okay and don't have too much stress going on, try to move down the spectrum toward the most difficult breath. In this way, all the muscles that are involved in breathing, your abdominal muscles, the muscles between the rib cage called the intercostals, and of course, the way you move the diaphragm itself. So you got some coordination to make each different breath pattern happen. So play with stretching or toning particular muscles at particular times. All right, let's do some movement coordinated with the breath now. So we'll start with the hands on the lap, palms down, and on an inhale, roll the palms up. Exhale, the palms go down. Inhale, roll them up. And try not to pick them up and put them down, but really just roll so that it's a nice relaxed movement. Exhale down, inhaling up. We're going to add some spinal movement with this. So when the palms go down, you're going to round your spine a little bit. And on the inhale, the palms go up. Take a tiny back bend, squeeze your shoulder blades together, and repeat those 2 movements. Exhale, a little rounded spine. Inhale, a little like a baby back bend. We're going to keep the spinal movement going and begin to swing the arms out. On the inhale, swing your palms out, palms up. On the inhale, back to the lap, palms down on the exhale. And that arm movement can get larger and larger as your range of motion allows. So if you're working with a shoulder issue or something, you're going to keep it within your range of motion. If your shoulders are good, take your arms up higher, wider, however you like, staying within your current capacity. All right, next time you bring your hands back down to the lap, just hold right there. So everybody's breath, length of their breath might be different. So I might be saying, let that be the end and come to the next movement. But if you're still finishing up, take your time. All right, we're going to come into some what we call the 6 directions of the spine. And those first 2 movements that we just did are the first 2 of the 6. We're going to take the next 2, bringing the hands to the hips. We'll take a lateral to the left and a lateral to the right. Inhale, lengthen the spine. And on the exhale, just lean a little bit to one side. Inhale, back up. Lean to the other side. And we'll repeat. If you'd like, you can slide your hand down the chair leg to go down a little further. Other side. And if you have your blocks handy, on the exhale, you can bring your hand down to your block. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. Stay here for just a breath. Keep breathing. And on your next inhale, come on back up. And over to the other side, hand down the chair leg or to the block. Staying there for a full breath. And on the inhale, climb back up. All right, we're going to put a cat-cow in between just to square everything back up on that spine. All right, and then the last two movements are the twists. So we'll inhale the arms up part way, and then bring the opposite hand to a knee, go to one side, and the other hand just swings back behind anywhere. Inhale, come right back out, facing center. Exhale, turn to the other side. Inhale to center. And we'll repeat side to side again. Your head can turn into the twist as well if you like, or you can keep your head facing the side or the front. The neck needs to be in a position comfortable for you. This last one, we're going to stay for a breath. So come into the twist, exhale, and keep breathing. On an inhale, unwind back to center. And exhale, go into the other side. Keep breathing. And on your inhale, back to facing center. And exhale the hands down on the lap. All right, let's come down to the legs now. So if you have your both feet on a blanket, just move it so just one foot is on the blanket. And we're going to slide the leg out on an inhale, back in on the exhale. Now, some of the time you can point and some of the time flex. I like to flex more because that gives me a stretch in the back of my leg. I hike a lot and my back of my legs get tight. So I like to stretch that. But some people have tight ankles and would like to get that stretch across the top of the ankle. Inhale when you take the leg out, exhale when you bend that knee. Now we're going to start to take different angles off to the side, what I call spokes, like spokes of a bicycle. Inhale out, exhale back in. Inhale, the leg goes straight, exhale, the knee bends. And just taking the leg around out toward the side as comfortable for you. And sometimes our chairs limit the range of motion. So just doing the best you can. You're looking for like a stretch down the inner thigh. And work your way back somewhere in the middle and pause, and we'll point and flex right there. And then let's circle the ankle around a couple of times in each direction. Keep the knees soft and allow that knee to bend. And then we'll work our way back up to the top. Inhale, the leg goes out. Exhale, back in. All right, and then we'll switch it over to the other side. Just one foot needs to be on the slider. Exhale when the knee bends and comes back in. Inhale when the leg goes out. So I don't know if you can see me, I scooch a little to one side. My chair has a little scoop down, and the knob of the end hits my thigh, and not a good place. So if I just ease over a little bit, I can get a little more range of motion in there. So you might have a chair that is similar. A couple of the places I teach chair yoga at around here in town, I live in Wake Forest, North Carolina. They have chairs that also scoop in. So we are always scooting to one side or the other. All right, and then pause out in that one of those middle angles and point and flex. Circles, both directions. And then working your way back up to the top. All right. A couple of times up at the top when you're there. And then let's bring both feet up on your sliding apparatus. If you have two things. And stretch both legs out and back in. I bring my hands back to the chair. My chair's pretty stable and not tippy, but it's always safer to have your hands back behind just in case that chair wants to tip forward. But getting a good sturdy chair for this is best. We're going to take the legs out just a little bit wider, just enough to give us room to bring the toes in and out so your toes don't hit each other. A couple of times. Out is your inhale, exhale when the toes come in. And then we're going to pause the toes up top and circle the ankles around. You can circle them mirror images like I'm doing, or they can both go around in the same time and just reverse directions. And then pause with the toes up front again and point and flex. We're going to hold the flex and spread the toes. And then relax the feet and toes. Exhale, bend the knees, bring it back in. All right. We'll come to the shoulders a little bit more. I'm going to shrug the shoulders up toward the ears. Move the shoulders back toward the wall behind you. Squeeze the bottom tips of the shoulder blades in toward each other and then relax. And we'll do that again. Shoulders up toward your ears, back toward the wall behind you. Squeeze the bottom tips of the shoulder blades in more and relax. And one more. Up, just keep breathing. Back toward the wall behind you. Squeeze the bottom tips of the shoulder blades in and relax. 3 of those. And then if you have a wall behind you, you're going to want to scooch a little bit forward or turn sideways on the chair. And I'm going to turn sideways so you can see this a little easier. And let me take this sweater off as well. You can stay facing forward like this, and we're going to swing the arm back and forth like this. I just want to show this from the side though. So exhale, inhale. The breath doesn't really matter. Keep breathing as you swing. And then the next time you swing it back, hold right there. And keep the elbow high and just bend and straighten the elbow. And then fold the arm back behind you like you're trying to reach your lower back. Inhale, fold it back behind, a couple of those. And then swings again. And then let the arm dangle down, and you can just rest your other arm on your elbow to your thighs, and we'll do circles. Circle the arm around. Whatever direction you're going, clockwise or counter, you're going to reverse. And then come on up and we'll do the other side. On this side, since we all know what we're doing, I'm going to stay facing forward. Swings. Let that arm swing way high in front and way high in back. And then the next time it goes back, hold it right there and bend and straighten the elbow. And then folding it back behind you. And then swings again. Swings get smaller and smaller until the arm's just dangling down, and then start the circles. Both directions. And then we'll climb back up. And here we're going to do a cat-cow, rounded spine and a little back bend. My sweater over there. Glad I didn't hit the camera. All right, we're going to do some more hip work here. You're going to scoot forward and come up on the toes of one foot and let the knee swing out toward the side and back in. You're going to inhale when you stretch it out, exhale back in. And you can lift the heel when the knee goes out and drop the heel down when the knee comes back in. So that's your inhale, exhale. And the heel up and down is just an added thing you can do. You don't have to do that. You don't have to do anything, actually. It's to go to the other side. Everything is optional. And you really need to, you can listen to what I'm saying or watch what I'm doing, but if you're like, I don't think so, then you just sit it out. Nobody knows. You're in your own home. You're in charge. I'm just making suggestions, and you got to pass it by your heart and see if it feels like, yeah, that's something I want to do. All right, we're going to turn to face either to the corner off to the corner, or you, if you like, you can go all the way to the side. I'm going to do the corner first, and then the next time through, I'll do the side. So we did those leg stretches out to the front and started to go out to the side. I'm going to just kind of pick up where we left off and continue. I'm just going to scoot my chair back so you can see the whole range. And even toward the back, so you're going to get into that inner thigh a little more. The knee doesn't have to go all the way straight, so always paying attention to that knee joint. It needs to always be happy. And then we're going to turn the knee in, and it's going to clear the front of the chair. So you have to be sitting at the edge of the chair so that you can drop that knee down in front of the chair. And you want to start to work that knee back behind the hip socket. So you can see if I dropped a plumb line down from my hip, my knees back behind just a little bit. And that's going to start to stretch into the front of the hip. And you can stretch that leg back more. So I'm just going to kind of bend and straighten, my foot sliding on the slider. I have my toes tucked under, but it doesn't matter. You could have your heel down and stretching back, and your foot could be a little more toward the front. Doesn't have to go straight back behind. So you got to make these work for you. And no matter what you're doing, you're going to be coming into that hip. So you have to find what hip stretch is workable for you today. All right, pick one of these hip stretches to hold just for a breath. And then release, pick a different one, a different angle, and hold. Keep breathing. And I have my foot turned in a particular way. I'm going to just change the way my foot was turned and take a different angle. This gets into all these hip rotators in here. Those hip rotators are what starts to atrophy as we get older, and especially if we sit in chairs a lot. So we want to get those working as much as possible. Let's come to the center and take a cat-cow here. When you do the cow, stretch your legs out. So a little bit of a back bend with the legs stretching out. Bring those knees back in and round the spine. So we did work to the hip on that one side. So see if you can feel the difference in that one hip that feels just maybe a little more awake or warmer or something. And as we continue to do this, they should start to ease back toward feeling pretty much the same. This is what we call a counter pose. So we're counter posing to make everything come back to same. All right, let's do one more. And it may not come all the way back, but it definitely moved it in that direction. And we're going to turn to the other side. So just to the corner of your chair, further if you like. And we'll start those leg stretches from this side. Remember, when your leg goes out towards straight, it's your inhale. When you bend the knee, it's an exhale. Any spokes comfortable for you that are in your range of motion. You're watching your knee. Your foot turns any way you like to protect the knee. And if you change up the way the foot is angled, it gets into different parts of the muscles coming into that hip. So see what you can do to get into different fibers of the muscle without aggravating the knee. And then that's one where you sit right on the edge of the chair and drop your leg down in front of the chair. And you want that, if I drop a plumb line down from my hip, you can see my knees in front. You want the knee to go back behind the hip. So you get a little stretch in your front of your hip there, your hip flexors, and you can stretch, increase that as comfortable for you. So I'm stretching my foot back further and further, and it can go toward the front a little bit. Sometimes straight back is too much for some. So you have to find where is your stretch. I don't know if you can hear my chair squeaking. It's like it needs oil. All right. Now pick one of those angles, one of those spokes to hold on, and we'll just hold for, keep breathing. We'll just stay for a breath or so. And then on the exhale, release it, stretch out on another one, a different spoke, and keep breathing. And then bring it back in and come to face the front again. Bring both feet up on sliders, something to slide on. Hands back behind. We're going to exhale a rounded spine, and on the inhale, stretch those legs out and a little back bend. Bring them back in, a rounded spine, a back bend with the legs stretching. Now, if your chair is fully stable and you can let go when you stretch your legs out, you can add the arms. When the legs go out, the arms can go up. And again, that range of motion is completely up to you. You can stretch high, your arms can go as straight as they're willing to go. You can stretch out like cactus pose arms or any stretch at all. Keep them low, especially if you're worried about your chair stability. All right, let's bring it back in. We're going to take it over to the side again, either at that corner or this time I'm going to go all the way to the side. Now, when you go all the way to the side, you still need to be sure your knee can come down in front of the chair, your thigh can come down in front of the chair. Face toward the, we'll call the front knee, and this other one is the back leg. So face towards your bent knee and just hold on to the chair, back in the chair seat as best you can, and start to stretch that leg back and toward any of those angles. And you're looking for what angle feels really good that I can hold and stay there. So find a place where your leg can stay. And then we're going to let go of the chair and put our hands on the front knee. Inhale, lengthen the spine, and on the exhale, fold toward your front knee. Inhale, come on back up, squeeze your shoulder blades together, and you can take the arms cactus pose or further up. Inhaling, this is warrior one. And we're going to turn the torso toward the screen and take your arms down to shoulder height. Arms out wide, this is warrior two. We're going to go back to warrior one, sweep the arms up, turn to face that front knee. Exhale, bring the hands down to that knee and fold over it. Just kind of reversing how we got into this. And then inhale, come on back up, hands to the chair again, bend that back leg and facing front, face forward. We'll pause here and take a cat-cow, which you can do with your legs going out if you like. Bring your blanket or whatever your feet can slide on and legs go out, take a little back bend. Exhale, come on back in, rounded spine. Arms can be added on the next two if you like. You don't have to add things on. So usually if I'm adding on, it's to take it deeper or, stretching some other area. And you don't have to, well, you don't have to do anything, right? Everything is optional. All right, let's turn to the other side of the chair, to the corner or further around if you like. Drop that knee down in front and start to stretch that leg. Different angles back there, and you're looking for sort of a lunge type position, and the leg going as straight as it's willing to go today. If that knee needs to be a little bent, that's fine. And the foot, I've got my whole foot down, the toes are down, the heel is down, but that is again up to you. If you take the leg straight back, your heel can be up or down, doesn't matter. All right, find a position for you and bring your hands to face to be on the front knee. Turn the torso toward that front knee. Exhale. Inhale, lengthen the spine. And exhale, fold forward. Inhale, come on back up, arms up. Squeeze those shoulder blades tips together for warrior one. And then turning sideways toward the screen, drop the arms out wide for warrior two. And then we'll go back up for warrior one. Arms down to the knee. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, come on back up. Exhale, bend that back knee and walk it around to the front again. Get your blanket or your sliders in front. Hard to keep track of those sometimes. All right, we're going to do that same counterposing. With the legs stretching out on the inhale, back in on the exhale. Arms added if comfortable for you. And just see if you can feel everything sort of coming back in toward evenness on either side of the spine, even down into the hips. All right, and then just keep the arms down and the legs in, and we'll take a cat-cow here just to further ensure we get the spine all back to neutral. All right. All right, and then we're take a chair sun salute here. Let's do it facing forward, and then we'll turn to the side so that we can do the lunge, kind of like we just did. The lunge when you're facing forward is going to look like this. You bring your hands underneath the back of one leg and lift that foot up. This will be what our lunge is, and you can kick that leg out if you like. Let's just do that on the other side while we're here. Lift up the other leg, kicking it out if you like, and back down. All right, so the sun salute, here's our start position. Exhale. Inhale, float the arms up. Your range of motion for all of these. Exhale, you can fold over your legs. You can land elbows to thighs or fold further down. Bring one of the legs with you for your lunge. So hands behind the back of a thigh and lean back, kicking it out if you like. There's your lunge. And then next pose is downward dog in a chair, which is to take the legs out and push into the chair back and get a little arm strengthening work there. And then a back bend. You can bend the knees if you like. Squeeze the bottom tips of your shoulder blades together for the back bend. And then we'll go back through those poses in reverse order. So downward dog again. You can stretch the legs out. There's another variation of downward dog with a shoulder stretch. So you can just stretch the legs out and the arms up. And then come on back in. We're going to lunge the other leg, kicking it out if you like. And then fold over the legs, exhaling as deep forward fold as you like. Come all the way up, arms up. And exhale back to start. All right, let's do the lunge off to one side. So again, you can be at the corner of your chair or all the way around to one side. And it's sitting a little bit with one hip off of the chair and one hip on. So I kind of like to do sun salute more toward the corner. So both hips are on the chair, and you can be further forward toward that corner. All right, exhale. Inhale, the arms float up. Exhale, fold over. The lunge, come on back up, and the lunge is to slide that leg back into the lunge. Exhale here. And then we're going to do those downward dogs similarly. So the legs can stretch out, push into the chair back for an arm strengthener, a back bend. The other downward dog variation, you can take the legs back out if you like, but you want to open your shoulders, any kind of a shoulder stretch comfortable for you. And then relax down. We're not going to do that lunge again. We're just going to pick it up with the next position, which is the forward fold. Then inhale the arms up and exhale back to start. And we'll get the lunge on the other leg when we switch it over. So go ahead and switch it over to the other corner, right up toward the edge of that corner. And don't forget to bring your slider under that foot that's closest to the screen. That'll be sliding back into the lunge when we get there. All right, exhale. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, folding forward. Remember, you can land elbows to thighs or further forward. And then come on up, stretch that leg back for your lunge. Any angle that's comfortable for you, there's your lunge. And then slide that foot all the way forward, both feet forward for your downward dog. pushing into the chair for the arm strengthening variation of downward dog, then a back bend, and then the shoulder opener version of downward dog. Legs can be straight or bent, and then fold over the legs, exhaling all the way up, arms up, and back to start. All right, let's come to face forward. With your sliders here. And we'll do sort of like making an L shape with the body. These the ones we did before, where the legs go out and the arms can be added if you like. You can keep your hands to the chair if you prefer, not doing both at the same time. And this, we sort of call these LOL. So your body goes in an L shape, roughly, and then an O is the rounded spine. L again. Let's do one more. LOL. All right. And then bring your, you may not need the sliders now. Bring your heels up and a rounded spine and your fingertips over the knees. And then heels down, the hands slide back toward the hips. You take a little baby back bend. I'm going to show this from the side. I think it's easier to see. So heels up, a rounded spine, fingers, tips are over the knees. Drop the heels, slide the hands back, take a back bend. And repeat. Exhale, the rounded spine. Inhale, the back bend. And we'll do our heels up and down on just maybe another one. Heels come up when you round the spine. Exhale. Heels drop down when you take the back bend. And then just keep the feet down, feet in neutral, and continue the cat-cow movement. That is the back bend and the rounded spine. And then keep going, one more. And then just relax in neutral when you're ready. All right, and inhale the arms up and out. Again, the range of motion comfortable for you. Exhale back to the lap and repeat. Now start to make the movement smaller and smaller. So decrease the range of motion. Keep the elbows close into the body now, and just the lower arm, your forearm, is going out and back to the lap. Palms up, palms down on the lap. Tinier and tinier movement of the arms till the arm movement or just the palms flipping up and down, just rolling along the baby finger side of the hand. And tiny movement of the spine. So the spine is barely inhaling and or rounding and lifting toward a back bend. All right, let's pause now. Put the palms down, spine in neutral. And at this point, if you want to lean back into the chair back as I talk us through a relaxation visualization, we're going to imagine a little tiny blue light in the heart center. And that blue signifies healing. Make it sort of a bluish green if you like, or really any color that's comfortable for you. And begin to let that blue light, starts like a little flame, like a pilot light, and let it start to get larger and larger till it becomes about a spherical shape, maybe about the size of a tennis ball, give or take an inch or more. And this blue energetic ball, you can make it go larger or smaller or divide. So we'll make it go a little bit larger, still staying in the heart center. And then begin to separate it into two as each ball goes up to the shoulders. Healing any thing going on in the shoulders. You can slide the balls down the arms to the elbows and down to the palms. Feel free to flip the palms up and just kind of imagine holding those balls in your hands. And then we're going to bring the hands up to the shoulders to place the balls back up at the shoulders. And then release the hands down. The balls stay up at the shoulders and go together, merging together at the neck. And you can rest your hands back, palms down or up, however your hands want to go. So now you've got this one blue ball in the center of your neck and throat. Wherever the blue balls are, they're healing and softness and relaxation. Let the blue ball slide up into the head, and it grows larger to encompass the whole head and maybe even slightly larger than your head. Then we'll begin to slide the ball back down, and you can make it go smaller as it comes down the neck if you like, or it can stay large, it doesn't matter. Slide the blue ball back down through the throat. Pause at the center of the throat if you like. Slide it back down to the heart center. Pausing there if you like. Sliding down to the upper belly. Making that blue ball go larger or smaller as you like. Then into the lower belly. And again, we'll divide the ball into two spheres, each sphere going to left and right hip sockets. Excuse me. It's pollen season here in North Carolina. And then with one ball in each hip, bring healing and softness and relaxation to each hip and begin to float the balls down from the hips, down the thigh, landing at the knee, and take a pause there. And from the knee, they travel down to the ankles. And then here I like to make the balls go larger, encompassing my whole foot, and like half of the ball is like below into the floor below, and half of the ball above. And have that feel like it's helping you ground your feet and connect to the earth. And then let those balls shrink as they come back to the ankles and float up to the knees, to the hips, joining back together into one sphere and floating it back up to the heart. And it's shrinking in size as it comes back up to the heart and continues to shrink until it goes back to just that little blue flame. And just keep that little light in your heart, which is sort of like your pilot light, your energy. Each breath you take keeps that light strong and ready to keep you going. Take a couple more deep breaths here. Just let your breath keep that flame going. It's like the breath is like the gas that keeps the pilot light on. All right. You're more than welcome to stay here, relaxing and enjoying that feeling in your body right now. Hopefully you have a good feeling in your body now. Otherwise, I thank you for joining me. Thanks to You Call This Yoga for making these classes happen free to you. They're always looking for donors and sponsors. So if you know someone, send them to the youcallthisyoga.org website for you can hit the donate button. Otherwise, thank you. Namaste.